Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tao of the Day. It is another Friday edition of Tao of the Day. You know what that means? Get your Tao now. That's what that means. Like you will not, you will not have me to kick around over the weekend. I am here to give you your Tao for your weekend. That's right. The Tao of the Day does not show up on the weekends. So if you want to pick a number between 1 and 81, join me and we can have a little chat about the Tao, your Tao for the day. My talks, which have been going on for quite some time, since probably October or November last year, are all about bringing in the Tao. Bring the Tao into your life. If you're familiar with the Tao Te Ching, then you know what this is. Welcome. Brianna, how are you?
Hi, Martin. Well, should I call you Martin John? Like,
Martin's okay. How are you doing?
good. How are you?
I am well. I don't believe we've talked before. Is that true?
We connected briefly. You told me about the numbers between 1 and
And
80.
81. Did we do a Tao in the past?
No, never. It's really not my thing to do those. I mean, at least not with tarot cards, and that's what that gives me. But I'll do this because I'm just choosing a number, and then I love the Taoist principles. I don't know about these this 1 to 81, and I might have to do some research. So I'm excited.
Well, the research is all in your heart. The Tao's been around for such a long time that we're all connected to it. And so it is here. So, do you have a number?
Hmm. My number would be 24.
24. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. And so, this is what we'll do I'll read through 24. You'll tell me what you think. And then, and see how maybe it relates to things that you're going on or whatever. And then we'll go through it line by line and we'll chat about it.
Okay.
Okay. So he who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. If you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job and then let go.
Wow. I gotta pick this up.
This is the Stephen Mitchell translation, and his is what I believe like the most kind of boiled down quintessential translation of the Tao. There are a couple translations that there like two of the 81 translations I have had a little issues with, but it is kind of the way to go for the modern translation.
You said Steve Mitchell's?
Stephen Mitchell. Yeah.
Stephen Mitchell's. Okay. And you have a physical copy?
I do have a physical copy, but I am reading the digital copy. And if you want a digital copy, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll send you links.
Okay, beautiful. I'll do that
Yeah.
right now.
So yeah, what are some of your initial thoughts?
Um,
And
that's
I'll
the,
read it again if you need.
well, can I tell you the first thing you said? He who tiptoes,
He who stands on tiptoes doesn't stand firm.
right, doesn't stand for, wow. Can I tell you? That was really like me growing up. I grew up in this like abusive environment. My mom was like a dictator. So I was always walking around eggshells with her. I remember like having like an opinion on certain things she would share with me, and I would hold back on my opinion, but I would say it in a way like, like I remember we were having a conversation and it sounded like she was being a little manipulative. So I said,
Mm.
Mom, do you think that's a little manipulative? See, me saying do you think was really me trying to tell her I think. But
Yeah.
right, because I know how she is, I know how she'll blow up. I withheld the truth. I didn't stand firm in my truth. And she asked me, she said, you think I'm manipulative? And that's where I had to like, yeah, I did. That was my first step in the process of, standing in my truth no matter. Like I had to learn how to stop walking on eggshells around
Like
people.
as soon as she asked that question, you had to plant your feet back onto the ground and be like, am I going to say this, or am I going to continue walking on eggshells and say, no, 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 that's not what I'm saying. And by you saying yes, it's
Mm,
like you can even feel your heels hit the ground and be
mm.
like, I am standing firm.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Kid you not. And so it was like every line that's why the Taoist principles really resonate with me. I learned about Taoism through yin and yang and balance
Mhm.
and all of those things. But I had no idea that it goes this deep because that really hit my soul. And the
Yeah.
second line, he who rushes doesn't go far. That's where I'm at in my phase in my journey because I'm a digital marketer. I specialize in digital marketing.
Hmm.
Branding is essential, especially when you're trying to get clients. Numbers, metrics is it really really runs your business, right? And so as a beginner where I know I have the quality of the knowledge that I need to apply my knowledge into somebody else's business. I don't have the numbers to back me up yet because I'm beginning, but I'm okay with that. I know that everything will happen in its timing because I'm putting the quality of my brand over the quantity because I really care about getting the result you're looking for. And these
Right.
things take time.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like he who rushes ahead doesn't go far. It's like every time you try, there's another verse in here that says like when you when you push ahead, you ruin what was almost ripe. It's like you don't want like you want to be able to sit
Mm,
and observe and do the right thing now. And
right,
that means not living in the future, because in the future, if you're living in the future, the answer that you'll come up with for now might be the right answer in the future, but it might not be the right answer right now.
right.
Like just because there is a right answer doesn't mean it's the only right answer, and doesn't mean it's the it's the right answer that you need to do now. When we were children, like you were standing on tiptoes. And then
Hmm.
eventually, standing on tiptoes, that although that was the right answer as a child to protect yourself,
Mm,
as you grew up, as you had to reclaim or recover your voice,
mm.
you had to put those heels down
I know that.
because you needed to stand firm.
Mm,
And being in marketing, like, and that's probably a big aspect of like you want to be able to tell your mom something, but you have to wait for the right time. Because if you were 6 years old and said that, you'd have gotten a whooping. Like
you,
you'd have gotten your ass fucking put in your place. You know what
uh,
I mean? But when you can do that as an adult, then it's like, you know what? There is a right time to tell your customer what you need to tell them.
mm,
But sometimes telling them they're wrong is not the right way. There are moments where it's the right time to do it. And there are
mm.
moments where like where you won't stand firm.
Right, right, right.
And
I
then
love.
it continues to say, he who tries to shine dims his own light.
Hold on. Can I just tell you because I'm in the networking space, I get that so much. Kid you not, like, especially for entrepreneurs who are coming on to these new apps trying to build their audience and close that sale. They because they're trying to, go far fast, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Back to that point, they put themselves in position where they feel like they have to, what's the word, gloat about what they've done. And I know that feeling where it's like, oh my god, shut up, nobody cares about what you accomplished. You came to this audience and you were supposed to help them. what you did won't help them, but what you did and how you did it. And if you share that information, if you make that the leading point where you're genuinely trying to help somebody else from your own experience, then you go like you get somewhere, you know. But shining your own light, I've learned, especially in Brandon, it never works.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because there's another translation of 24 that I happen to have open, and it also, in this translation, the line, "Nobody gives credit to people who always take it."
Oh God, that is so true.
Right? Like this idea that like if you're taking credit, who's gonna give it to you?
Mm. Oh
Ain't
my.
nobody giving you credit. Like ain't nobody give a damn about your fucking like what you're out here fucking talking about. Like everybody being like, I don't know how many times I speak to somebody or I talk to somebody and the first thing they want to do is tell me what they've done. And it's
Mm.
just like, all right, that's cool. Who are you? Who are you? Because if you can't show up as you right now, then I don't give a fuck what you did.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Where are
This
you
goes
from?
and this next line connects with that which I just expressed and you did as well. He who defines himself can't know who he really is.
Mm.
If you're so
Sure.
persistent on getting everybody else to understand who you are,
Hmm.
then you have a preconceived idea of who you are and you are deeper than that, you are more than that. If like I like to look at myself as I can never understand how deep I am, I can never understand how much I am, and if I just wrap myself up in a little box, then I'm just making it easier for you to understand me. And you know what, I can't be understood, and I should accept that.
I love, honestly, everything. I need to pick up this book. I'm sending you the message right now. Just give me a message.
Yeah.
Give me a
I'll
moment.
send you. I'll send you. Well, there are hundreds of translations. I'll send you two different links. I'll send you a link to Stephen Mitchell's translation, which is what we're reading, and then I'll send you a link to all of the. I'll send you a link to a page that has many different translations
Hmm.
that you can go back and forth and look at. So then it continues to say, he who has power over others can't empower himself.
Mm. Why do you think that? What do you think is behind that?
Well, I think of that, and I always hate to kind of bring any individual up, but I think about Trump, right? Like, so if I were to think about Trump has power over others, and because for whatever reason, a lot of people are afraid of his wrath.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But he can't empower himself to be or do anything. And he hasn't been able to, like, I knew of Trump in the 80s because I was born in the mid 70s. So like, and I knew and hated this man since then.
Oh God.
Um, so, like I couldn't, I never associated with anything good with the man. That's just me. Like whatever your political views are, him as a person always sort of made me sick. And the things that I look at is because he tries to constantly have power over others
Mm.
because that's where he gets his power,
Right.
by depleting the power of others. It seems, at least from where I'm sitting, um, that he can't ever really empower himself, which means he's always looking for power
Outside
by
of.
overpowering, or outside of himself by overpowering others. And that's kind of how I see that, whether or not that's true or not. But I mean, it can be seen pretty blatantly
Mhm.
externally. Now whether or not he is going to ever like face charges or do anything for having that sort of power over others is like that's irrelevant. But when we look at, like, can you empower yourself to be strong and full and live a life that is fulfilled? I mean, really, Trump has a really, you know, broken ego, and he is constantly looking to feel good by making other people feel bad, by putting people down, and that's a, that's the act of a third grader.
Exactly.
And so has he ever empowered himself? And so when I read this, he who has power over others, you're constantly having to invest your energy into that. He
Ooh.
who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. And you're down to 25 seconds. I just glanced. So definitely come back up so we can finish this. But he who clings to his work will create nothing that endures.
Wow. I love, kid you not, you make me want to do these like do these but you did it. So I'll just be here whenever I can.
Absolutely. The Tao is a beautiful exploration in self.
Mm, I'll be
So I know Kelly, you're in line. Love you so much. I hope you can wait while we bring Brianna back up really briefly to finish this off. So we say, he who clings to his work will create nothing that endures.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
also I look at that also as as you spoke earlier about networking and stuff. So many people clinging to their past, clinging to their accomplishments.
Exactly. Exactly, especially like clinging into the result of closing the sale. It's like because you're so focused on the future of what could happen when you connect with this person, you cannot connect with the person that you're trying to close the sale on efficiently in this moment. I've experienced it. Like that's why sales wasn't something I always thought that sales wasn't going to be something I picked up because of that reason. I remember being that person where somebody was trying to sell me and you're so focused on your script or you were so focused on your plan on how you were going to close me that you weren't listening to my needs of your business, you weren't listening to my concerns, you understand? And that's what, I kid you not, it's like that's where it's like you just lost me, you
Mm-hmm.
wasted all that breath, like I'm not going to buy from you.
All right. And this wraps up. Just as we finish that, if this wraps up, if you want to accord with the Tao, and accord with the Tao just means be yourself.
Mhm.
Just do your job, then let go. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to have expectation. You don't have to think that you've succeeded or failed. Those things don't exist. Those are just concepts that we carry.
Right.
Just do your job, then let go.
Whew. Martin John, thank you for sharing this today with me. I'm now going to be I can't wait to read it because I didn't even know. Like I said, I was just touching Taoism on the surface level.
Yeah, the Tao is a beautiful thing, and I'm looking forward to sending you these links, and then we'll connect again.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me.
Have a wonderful weekend. My love to you, dear.
Thank you. You too. Out of the way. Hold on.
Okay, Kelly, my buddy Kelly.
Garcia.
What's going
Hi.
on?
uh,
So how's life?
Life is just doing its thing. It doesn't disappoint. It's
All right,
okay. It's
how I know you and the fam are living in a trailer in California these days. How is
the
the
camper.
proximity?
Yeah. You know what? It's okay, except for that we didn't know we had to use special toilet paper because it's directly connected to sewage, and I also didn't know how to wash it to see if it was full. It totally
Mm,
did not do the things that it needed to do to function right as of yesterday. So we had to
mm-hmm.
evacuate it last night and sleep in the house. It was tremendous, a lot of stuff to deal with, sewage. So like,
That is, yeah, sewage is a tough thing to deal with, especially
and
with
we're
three
driving home.
children.
I know, yeah. And then like there's sensory stuff going on with one of them, at least. And so she was like, I can't sleep in here. There's kittens, and the kittens are cute, but they're also dirty and smelly, and whatever. Like she gets like she's overtired and stressed out. So
Kittens?
it was like, yeah,
Like little
they're
cats.
cute.
You know,
Yeah, baby
sometimes
cats.
little cats won't clean their butts and their pee
Yep.
off themselves, and then
Mhm.
they'll, that's a tough thing. Like I had a friend of mine who had a kitten, and she was like, "Uh-oh, I might have to put peanut butter on my cat's butt so I can entice them to
Ew.
like clean themselves." But
I had not
luckily,
ever thought of that.
luckily, luckily, Pretzel started to clean themselves. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened last night. So we just finally settled in. Everyone's like not freaking out. And then one of the little tiny two kittens, his bottom was gross and it got on her favorite yellow blanket and she just melted down. And I'm washing blankets and I'm calming everyone down again, which is only two children, but it feels like 200.
Oh
And
yeah.
here we are at work just now. So,
Here we are. Are you at the warehouse?
yeah, just pulled in,
Okay.
but I'm
Well,
gonna
let's
take
let's
care
let's
of.
let's find a number for your weekend.
I think number 6. It's a weird number.
Number six. Is it a weird number?
I
It's one
think it
away
might
from
be.
everybody's favorite number, 7.
Oh, mine's 8 or 4 or 2.
Okay. The Tao is called. This is a very short one. The Tao is called the Great Mother, like you, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. That's it.
Been getting a lot of mom ones lately. Ah, well, actually not lately. I haven't seen it forever. It's good,
Yeah.
right? It's really just what I did this morning. I climbed the little backyard hill. I sat there for just a few, even though I didn't have the minutes it felt like to take. I closed my eyes and I let all the sounds of the birds just like pull me from myself. So like, and then
Yeah.
the breeze picked up, and I just was like,
Mm.
when I started to get back in my head, which is a thing that I'm trying to be conscientious of because I don't desire it right now, then the birds just pulled me back out again, and nature just pulled me back out, and it sprinkled a little, and the tree shifted and sprinkled water on me, and I just like felt the world through my body and felt me,
You were baptized by the
through the
earth.
world. Yeah,
How beautiful. So, this
there is.
first part is interesting. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. That's, what really stands out to that is I know, like, you and I have spoken before, and there's this idea of, like, you're exhausted, and yet you continue. It's like you're empty, and yet you are still inexhaustible. Tired last night, you are moving everybody to the house. Completely done. You're washing blankets because a cat doesn't know how to lick itself. It gives birth to infinite worlds, right? Empty yet inexhaustible, it gives birth to infinite worlds. And everybody you interact with, they are going to be affected by you. And in their world, in their experience, they are going to go out into the world and continue to, like, your influence is going to expand beyond your reach.
Yeah, what we do does impact.
Like, everybody your children interact with, like, not just today, but everybody they interact with, and your
And it's
grandkids.
not and it's not mine though, like
It's
it's
not.
also like it's not about me when they do that. There's
No.
nothing, so like if someone says your kids are like so kind or so whatever, It's not about me. That's
No.
they are kind. It's yeah, they're my children, but it's like I didn't do that. They chose to do that. Like
Right.
and it's
That's
also
that
not a
empty.
reflection of me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that emptiness. Empty yet inexhaustible, right? You like that's what makes you a great mother, right? That you don't take ownership. You don't take, and that's the Tao for everything, for, the Tao that is within us and the Tao that is within that coyote that disappears, right?
So cool.
The Tao that is in the rock that you collect in the alleyway, right? The Tao that is in all of those things. The Tao within the rock that wants to be somewhere else, and so you pick it up and move it. Like you are in conjunction with, and you're not doing it for any reason, but it is within you to choose to do that. And you are working with the Tao, and you're working with the consciousness of that rock, and you are here to notice the disappearance of a coyote,
I really
or to
appreciate how you
notice.
wove these things in, Martin John. Yeah, good. I really value that. I was really, I'm like, yeah, these are all actual things, by the way, that I actually do. Like so.
Yeah,
But I don't even notice, of course, because why
right.
would I be
And
thinking
just
about it?
like just like your kids don't notice your influence as they go out into the world and do what they do, and eventually they will have to they will have to, like, this is why the Tao is called the Great Mother. You're the mother. The Tao is the Great Mother. And when your kids can no longer live under your influence and turn to the influence of the Great Mother, the Tao, they will then know themselves completely.
We all have that in
It
us.
is, what's that?
We all have that in us.
Right. We all do.
Yeah.
It is always present within you. And you can use it any way you want. When I read that line, and I would love to hear your take on it. When I read that line, you can use it any way you want. I always think about when I was in active addiction, and I talked to Allison about this. Allison here on Wisdom, about this one time on her podcast. It was about the idea when I was an addict. I very much was in touch with intuition. You can use it any way you want. You can use it to destroy yourself,
Yeah.
but you can also use it to be yourself. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want, and it doesn't judge you. You know, I'm editing a podcast right now, and we talked about the idea of, good and bad, and that not that not jiving, right? It's like, what the hell does Tao care what you do? You have a role. If you don't do it, okay, that's fine.
I it's it's do you judge the earth? Like are you like, oh earth, like you're so horrible that you had an earthquake or like it's judgment itself, like the expectations that it's you are definitely when you're suffering more in touch for whatever reason, but it doesn't have to
But
be. We
you're,
think we have to suffer to feel. It's like
yeah, no. It's because when you're suffering, it's easier to surrender.
mm,
It's like, can you surrender when you're in comfort? Because the
yeah.
thing is, like, you might have to surrender to discomfort, and you don't want to ever leave that comfort. You don't want to leave that comfort spot. So, can you surrender when you're comfortable? It's so much easier to surrender when you're uncomfortable because you can easily walk away from the discomfort. But can you walk away from comfort? Can you walk away from that? I see you are muted. My guess is you have a call,
I
but
I know I'm
yep.
listening. I'm moving and I want to make noises in your in
Oh,
the,
okay.
the thing.
No, I just wanted to
But
continue. So,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. It's I think that like that there is something to that idea that you can surrender when you're in pain easier.
I think, it's also I guess I'm stumbling because I'm thinking how we like. I also, I mean, we long for something to not be in pain, but yet we like seem to. For me, I will go deeper into it, but not so far that I actually look at the source, right? Like then I stop right there and I stay, and then I back up. It's like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? There's that weird like line that you almost want to cross, but you're like, no. So you just stay right there
Yeah.
in like the crappy spot by the edge where your tummy feels like it's gonna drop because you're looking over the cliff, but you're like, no. You really want to jump and just get it over with, but you're like, I'm just gonna stand here and feel uncomfortable for a really long time.
And I think that
Or
that
you
has a
could just,
lot to do. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, or you could just like turn around and go a different way. So it's like, it's so silly. It's just, that's
Yeah,
silly.
that's recognition, right? Recognizing one thing and thinking about it, and then putting it, and then judging it, and saying this is something. And I think there's that next step where you can just like recognize it. Oh, look at this! Like you can do it from a curious space and be like, oh, look at that, and then like be there, right on. This is happening, and not have to. And that's what it says here. Like it's always present within you. You can use it any way you want. You can use Tao. You can use this inexhaustible energy to think about it and to judge it and to put it into some understanding. Or you can use it in another way. You can use it in a way that you can just kind of you can recognize that it is within you and that is strength and that is who you are, and it doesn't require that judgment.
Judgment. Yeah.
That it doesn't require
Yeah.
that thought. It can just be here. Like, oh look at this. My septic tank blew up. Okay, let's move to town.
Let's
No,
go
that's that
revisit.
happened, so we move
Good.
out, and it's not something like. And of course, your child is gonna be like, "Oh my god, there's poop on my pillow," and, and it's like, okay, well,
That
let's
did not occur, but that'd be a worthy cause to be upset if it did.
yeah, let's and then you can just say, "Oh, there's poop on your pillow. Well, let's wash it." Like very simple. It's not horrible. Like nothing is horrible because everything is just as it
We
is.
can, yeah, we can do this. This we shall
Yeah.
pass.
And you can use it any way you want. If you want to embrace the struggle and really like dive into the pain, you can and the Tao's not going to stop you from doing that, and good on you. Just go ahead, embrace it as much as you want until you can't anymore, until you don't want to anymore, until you find that you are at one with all things and you are connected. Because when you see that, then nothing can get in between you and your bliss.
I think that is really just about letting go. It's just about letting go. There's so many references I could think of, but I'm not going to have to go to. I have to actually go. But like,
All right.
it's just, it's just when you like, you can fight the current, you can fight the current, you can fight the stream, you can fight the feeling, you can fight the pain if you're having physical pain. You can also just,
You can also just float downstream. You want to come back up and finish that? You said you could just, and then if not, okay, I'm going to bring you up, and then oh, look, Dr. Rao. So Kelly, I hope you can listen because Dr. Rao, I'm sure, will have some wonderful things to say. Okay, go on. You can
and
just.
I'll listen. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, just like there's this like floating point, it's anything you do, there's a point where something that's really horrible, hard, you have to just go, let go, release. You have to release. And when you do, a lot opens up to you, like a lot. And it doesn't mean you're not going to be there again, but it's really just the flow, just trying to stop fighting everything, even when it's horrible. I mean, God, I have horrible all the time, but it's it's knowing that when you let go, that water is still going to hold you up if you just lay there and breathe.
Yep. Yep. I always like to
Just,
imagine yourself as a cork. Now float.
yeah, float. Just
Just
lay there
let.
and breathe. It'll still take you. It doesn't have to be the sink.
That's right.
Water is
All
always
right,
good thing.
Kelly. You have a
Thank you.
wonderful, wonderful day, and I hope those kittens learn how to lick themselves.
Why, thank you. I hope you have a
It's a,
wonderful day too.
it's it's a job. They gotta learn how to do that.
Oh my gosh. Someone's gonna have to teach him, not me. All right, I'll talk to you later.
That's right.
All
All right. Have a
right,
wonderful day.
love you. You too. Bye bye.
Love you. Bye bye. All right, Dr. Rao. This is great. I really enjoyed going through that, and I'm sure Dr. Rao is going to have a little for us. Hello, my friend.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I am very well. I am feeling great. I thought Kelly and I had a nice conversation. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Couple of things from that and from what your disaster, whatever you're having it,
Right.
your non-reactiveness is impressive. You know,
Yeah.
you are you are not reacting violently like normally people do.
Hmm.
So your non-reacting stems from the fact that conditioned mind is really dormant, right?
Hmm.
If it is very active, you would have reacted very badly.
Yes. Yes.
But he said, that's okay. And about the point of Kelly saying letting go, that's a very crucial thing, I think, in the modern culture. I wouldn't just say only American, but all over the world.
Hmm.
What's happening now is they kind of practice meditation, things like that, controlling the mind, but they don't have this passion for things and whatever they want to have. Those kind, they want to have things, but at the same time practice mindfulness. That's not going to work for the real serenity of mind.
Right.
So that's a major flaw, not letting go, and then encourage all the advertisement, all the conditioning, everything encourages have more stuff.
That's
we're,
right.
we're all victim of that, I believe. But the people who are like us, who awoke from that, kind of really let go easily because that's not really permanent thing. So it's not something that is going to give us the uh, forever fulfillment.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, anything in our life, anything
yeah,
in our physical life, it can't
yeah,
like because our even our physical life isn't permanent, right?
yeah,
Like our connection that
yeah.
we have within our physical life, that's permanent.
Yeah,
But
you see, the cultural life is like that. For example, I
right.
was talking to Tiffany Jones today about the obesity and all that, and how for her the taste is a little bit, and then she's trying to climb the Kilimanjaro and trying to lose weight and all that,
Mm,
exercising. But then this taste thing is something very huge in everywhere. People cannot let go what they like, and then they let go and they are diseased like a diabetes, and then they suffer a lot because they miss them, right? They suffer,
yeah.
really physically suffer. And also as a physician, I've seen that with my patients. Used to the white flour, for example, you cannot do without it, at least some of it. Our Indians who are used to staple rice, including myself, we have
Mm.
to let it go to control our blood pressure now. Now people are going to more like seeds and then different kind of grains that were used earlier, and they used to think only the poor people will eat that, but now the rich people are eating them because the system can't take it.
That was that's always been the case, right? That peasant
Yeah.
food always
Yeah.
finds its way to the plates of the wealthy.
You know what I call them, the Martin? All these diseases, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, diseases of civilization.
Yes.
So we kind of uh, know better, but we can succumb to the taste.
Yeah.
And there was a study at one time, NIH, National Institute of Health, they did it. They found the biggest problem with obesity reduction is not able to control this taste.
Mm.
And then yoga has an answer for that. I follow that. That's why I don't have any problem. Like, if you tell me what is that you crave, I say nothing. you
Yeah.
know. And then I kind of keep myself very happy when I eat the food. I relish it. I enjoy it. and I have fulfillment of eating and all that. But I eat slowly, I eat deliberately and all. Basically aware, right? All the time aware. That's it. And then also, if it is really, really tasty, don't eat too much. I'll tell you a story of a sage in the Himalayas. They were up in the Himalayas, right? Gangotri, some of those places are very high, and you cannot get much there. And so all these people in the ashram, they were studying some serious books and all that, meditation and all that. So somebody brought this sage a very well-made lassi. Lassi is like a combination of buttermilk, sweet, and all that, mango, and it is wonderful to taste, right? And they
Hmm.
bring the special care, and they got some mangoes, which they normally don't get them. They made this drink with very, very attention and care and affection too, and brought it to the teacher because they love him so much, and they give them full glass of lassi, right?
Yes.
I don't know, you have tasted lassi. If you not go and taste it, then you'll know how tasty.
Well, I'm familiar with. I'm in Chicago. We have plenty
Oh
of
yeah,
lassi.
yeah. So see, you know what I'm talking about. So, and he takes the glass and takes a sip and gives it back. So all these students are worried. Oh my God, maybe we did not make it right. Is it bad? Is it bad, teacher? Why didn't you drink it? He says, no, it is good. That's why.
Yeah. And that's all. That's like you can enjoy that first sip. Like I know as someone who has come through addiction, like that first thing is all you really need. But then you're constantly chasing that
Yeah.
that
That's the
first
point.
experience.
See, that's the point. He had employed what's called pratyahara in yoga.
Hmm.
What it is, withdrawing senses from the contact impulse, it makes it coming back. That's when you withdraw it.
That's right.
That's a requirement for deep meditation to withdraw all your senses.
Yes.
That I teach them very easily, and people really go into that. So one of the biggest problem we encountered as physicians was all these kids were kind of allowed them to go into psychological addiction of the food. That means they're upset, they give them a cookie. And that's how they think, oh, if I feel down, if I feel sad, I can take some food and then I'll be better. And that becomes a big problem. And all this advertising allowing people to eat a lot more, big size, super size, and all that.
Yeah.
So on one hand, we are trying to control these things, and all the markets are commercial, everything, promoting through the advertisement, through the kitchen, how they make foods and all that, right? And at home also, people think food is for psychological satisfaction rather than food is for your energy and all that. But you can also enjoy the food, but don't make it an addiction. You know,
Yes.
they
Yes.
fall into it without them knowing. Like a grandma's cooking is good, ma making, and you are used to the ma's cooking, and then you get used to that. That
Yeah.
kind. So I was talking about that, and also I have a question I posed. You take the question too. Is success to you, is success leads to happiness, or happiness is success?
Happiness is success.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would say
Like
that.
if I can be happy, then I'm successful. I
Yeah,
don't care like everything else is.
exactly. But then what is happening around is success leads to happiness, people think.
It's true. It's
And
true.
then they go, see, your work and my work is going inward.
Right.
Whereas most people are going with activities of outward. All these intellectuals, everybody else that are on this app also, they're always going outward,
Right.
either with their intellect or with their senses. Whereas you both have to have control to turn inward.
Hmm.
That's what I'm going to do next week at in the morning, 9 a.m. Room. I'm going to be in service over that. So I'm going to. I think lots of people don't understand me, Martin.
Yeah. I can
Right?
imagine.
Not because of the accent, not because of the language. I don't have any problem with the language. I write very
No,
prolifically.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
but I never wanted to lose my other Indian languages of Sanskrit and Telugu and Hindi, three other languages, right? So I love them, and I kind of they are very rich, so thousands of years ago. But
Oh
English,
yeah.
English also I like, and actually spelling and all that are my strengths from the beginning. So if I say an article, if somebody makes a spelling mistake, my eyes go to that. I don't know why, but
well, don't read my emails.
uh, so it is kind of they don't understand because they don't turn inward.
Right.
The people who turn inward easily read me and then think, I'm sure you look forward to me come up and talk to you because
Oh,
we think.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I also
Every
like
time.
to come and talk to you because, so anyway, I was posing that question, success leads to happiness versus happiness is success. But we are
Happy.
like that. You see, we
Yeah.
are happy and then we're going for the success. That's fine. But then a lot of these people go for success and spend all their thing without really going inward, and it becomes tough as they age. It's very tough to turn inward, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Well,
you.
I'm grateful for the work that you have posed to me
Yeah.
and have contributed to my
Yeah.
journey. So I'm really
Yeah.
grateful.
I kind of pull you back into
You
inward.
do. You do. You always pull me back inward, and it's
Yeah.
great.
And then
I'm
with
all
love and affection, though, not with uppity or egoic,
yes,
but
yes.
more like a love and affection. Hey, my friend is basically turned inward. Now he's pulled back by the people who have outward orientation. It's not a crime or anything, but it leads to
No.
a lot of misery.
Yes, yes.
So that's what it is. And then I'm going to do that next week. Only weekdays I'm doing it. And I just came just to talk to you. Uh,
Oh,
I will be talking to you again, Martin. Okay?
yes. We will be connected again. Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. And I get to have a special guest now, Andy.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. I've been having a nice Dow today. I had a couple people come up and we've done a couple things and we chatted about some stuff. And Dr. Rao comes up and asked me some nice questions and now you.
I've been listening.
Oh well, there it is. I appreciate that. And I know you have a Stephen Mitchell copy these days. So
I do have a Stephen Mitchell copy these days. I actually came up because I'm feeling very rooted in my ego at the moment. Very like guns ablaze and rooted in my ego. So I thought maybe we could just come back to maybe we
maybe
could
just
just come
we can
back
just
to our
maybe yeah maybe we can go inward.
oh yeah.
So all right. Well, let's pick a number.
We could do 30.
30. Are you going to read along?
Oh no.
No.
Do you want me
Okay.
to?
No,
Sit
I
no.
mean, you can just sit and listen. Whoever relies on the Tao in governing men doesn't try to force issues or defeat enemies by force of arms. For every force, there is a counterforce. Violence, even well intentioned, always rebounds upon oneself. The master does his job, then he stops. He understands that the universe is forever out of control and that trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. Because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. Because he is content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. Because he accepts himself, the whole world accepts him.
Oh, how awesome. How
Yeah,
absolutely appropriate.
I,
How
I, I
cool.
feel the same. Talk to me.
For every force, there is a counterforce. Violence, even if well intentioned, always rebounds upon oneself. I think about this with one of my clients and her fights with her husband and how she wants to, well, she doesn't anymore because she's great, but also because we've done some work. But the idea of them kind of going head to head, it was always about the force. Like, I'm going to force this into a situation of my choosing. And I, sitting back as the observer, would say, well, that's not going to work. That's just going to make it worse. And it
Right.
always does. But then in my own life, I think about like, Whoever relies on the Tao in governing men doesn't try to force issues or defeat enemies by force of arms. Because if you were to like to do that in your life, I think that I was talking to you this morning about I will rip their livers from their
Yeah.
bodies. I
this is
will.
this
I
is an
will.
act of governing men, right?
This is an act of governing men. Like when my ego feels threatened, I will rip their livers from their bodies. Like
Yes.
I will. And that can't work. Like that can't work because you can't force anyone, or you can't force any
Mhm.
circumstance to be as you would like it to be. And often when you do, you actually create the thing that you didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting. Like it's interesting how that works. Like you create this, it's almost like you create what you are trying to actively make not happen.
You attract attack.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's really.
everything that you put out there. Like every time you put out something, I don't want this, or I like this is you're attracting. Every time you define yourself in any way, you are attracting attack against that definition.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. Hmm. So
Mhm.
whoever relies on the Tao in governing men doesn't try to force issues or defeat enemy by force of arms. Now this whole first part is is just expressing what is done. Whoever relies on the Tao doesn't do these things, because if you're doing these things, you're not relying on the Tao.
Right.
You're not going to force. And this reminds me of the like turn the other cheek 3 times rule, that and it 3 times doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many numbers. You just have to be prepared to do it more than once. Because if you apologize and they reject your apology, and then they feel bad about having rejected the apology and offer an olive branch, and you reject it because they rejected yours, now you're just stuck in this constant battle. It's like
Mhm.
you have to be ready to offer that olive branch an innumerable amount of times, if that is like every force there is, and that's that yielding. When you
Mhm.
yield, then there's no violence. When you yield, there's no force.
I love the birds.
Yeah, they're, they're loud this morning. Yeah. So this then continues. It's just like, okay, the master, and this is the direction that we always want to face. This is the highest version, right? As you would say, this is the highest
The
version. The
highest
master,
version.
the highest version of you, is the master. The master does his job and then stops.
Right. You just put it out into the world, and then you let the things be as they are. Like
Yeah,
try to you don't try to change anything about it.
yeah,
This is like, and like, I like to use concrete examples because I think that that makes the most sense. But because this is about force of arms, it's kind of like, it's like if you are upset that your husband is always going out to the bar at night, if you're going to yell at him about going to the bar, then he's going to continue to go to the bar. In fact, he's going to be so put off by your yelling that he's going to probably spend more time at the bar. So that is like force of arms. But if you just express what you feel and then you stop and give that a chance to percolate, then and realize that you don't have any control over his behavior, then eventually, and you just understand that, you're going to have a better result than if you try to be dominating over that
right.
particular thing.
And he may like think about it and say, you know what, my family is more important. I'm going to stay home. Or you, instead of yelling at him to change, need to change. Like why, like maybe this isn't the right relationship for you anymore.
And and this is just a random example, but I think that I
Right.
run into a lot of this with people that come to me and, talk about their relationships, and the force is generally, like, I would say, like, a good bit of the time is what's causing the problems because
Right.
you're like, you have expectations that unfortunately are all created in your head, so you decide that you're going to exert your force.
And for every force, there is a
There's a
counterforce.
counterforce. There's a counterforce.
That's right.
And then, because he's content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. So it's like, well, even if it's somebody that you are earthly attached to, like, if somebody that you're earthly attached to is there, that you don't need, they're not, are they giving you a kidney? Are you on dialysis? Because if not, like, you're fine. Like, you're
That's right.
okay. Like, you are content with yourself. You don't need others' approval. And if you accept yourself, then you're going to attract everything that is perfection in your in what is meant for you in your universe.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's this line, because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. And to your example of, if you don't like that your husband is going out to the bar, like, that may be because that makes you feel less than.
Mm-hmm.
That makes you feel less than because he cares about going to the bar more than he cares about you. Maybe this is the story in your head. And the thing is when you can care about yourself, you don't have to convince anybody of anything. Like, you can really continue to love him, even though he's choosing something that maybe previously didn't want him to be choosing. You want him to choose you, but you don't need him to choose you because you now know that you believe in yourself.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
But some people have stories of, like, abandonment and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's one of mine. So it's like, this is a really great example of recovering yourself, is figuring out where those stories are, and then sort of attacking them, because otherwise, if you don't understand your own stories, you're going to be kind of lost, and when you're feeling the pressure of all those triggers, you're going to want to go against the Tao, and you're going to want to put it force onto a situation, pissing everyone off in the process. But
that,
it's
that
true. You're gonna
it
piss
happens.
everybody off. Like, you're gonna
Yeah,
do that.
that's right. That's right. It does his job and then stops. He understands the universe is forever out of control, and trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. Dominating events. We definitely
Hmm.
try to. We can so easily get into that.
Oh, my ego loves it, and my ego is such a strong man that
Yeah.
my ego, like, it's too bad, because, like, I win all the battles I fight, but it's like, it's too bad because I would not. I never, like, I never really won when I was fighting battles all the time,
Right.
because like, if I would set out to, like, fight a battle, like, okay, I'm going to set out to fight a battle and I want to exert my dominance over X, right? So you go
Yeah.
you go out to do that. I win every time
That's right.
because I am such a fucking elephant. Like, I'm just, like, charging forward. But what happens when you're just this bit, you're taking up so much space, is that then you don't really have any space to wiggle around in. You're in a cage
Yeah.
and nothing can come in.
Mm.
I used to sit at the bar, and I used to, the people that I worked with would try to come up and talk to me, and I would bark at them. I would say, like, get away from me. I'm not interested in you. I'm not interested in what you have to say.
Yeah.
You're going to say the same damn stupid thing that every other fucking person says. You're going to talk
Mm.
about your night and how you didn't make any money and how these people didn't treat you well. Okay, go to hell. Like, and that's how I would be. And I realized that, this is years ago. I realized that my lack of being willing to listen and to be open uh, robbed me of so many beautiful experiences for connection. Like, I connected with people, but I was selective about who I connected with. Like, I was like, oh, I'll connect with people as long as they're you know male. Like I would, or I'll connect with people as long as they're intelligent, or I'll connect with people as long as they are um, funny.
Yeah.
If I perceive weakness in you, I won't connect with you because you're weak. So I want you to go and be weak somewhere. I don't have weak people in my orbit. But it was that perceived weakness that was actually just softness. And I was unwilling to sort of touch that part because I was always force of arms.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. I'm writing a really abrasive email right now, so this has helped. I'm gonna walk away from it. I'm gonna walk away from the abrasive email, and I'm gonna get off of wisdom because I find wisdom triggering.
Oh. Oh.
and and I'm gonna go do my job, which is thump thump thump
Yeah.
thump 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 thump.
Thumping. Just thump, thump, thump. The master does his job and then stops. Mm.
Yeah, I'm having opponent process right now because I didn't run yesterday, so that's probably a good place for me. So I'm excited that 30. I didn't even plan 30. I just said 30, and then
Yeah.
30 came up, and I was like, "Oh, here we are. This is
Here
great."
we are. This is wicked. Oh, Andy, I'm in love with you. I think you're awesome.
I'm in love with you too. I will. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Dow. I will talk to you later.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya.
Yes. That is. Mm. Andy is very special to me. If you have been following, we we met here on Wisdom. So Wisdom is a nice place to meet wonderful people. And Andy, thanks for coming up. Thanks for 30. And yeah, it's awesome to present so many great chapters today. 30. We presented 6 with Kelly and Brianna, number 24, and everybody, it seemed, got a little something out of it. And Dr. Rao, thank you for bringing in some centering thoughts on all of those. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me for Tao of the Day. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text that consists of 81 chapters, and I invite you to come up and pick a number weekdays, sometime in the morning Central Time. Try and do it before noon. Try and get on and chat with you guys. I like to come on at least once a week later in the day, like 10 a.m., so that I can get some of my Pacific Coast people to give them an opportunity. We definitely don't want to just be doing it at 6 a.m., so it's 4 a.m. for them. Of course, Lois would be here, but she'd be it. So, and I think she's in Mountain Time anyway. But either way, thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Martin John, the Recovery Mentor. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, if you're interested in having monthly calls with me, I do have both a subscription and one-on-one services that you'd be able to reach out to me through Instagram, and we can have conversations around all of that. So DM me if you're interested in working together. My workshops are moving to a digital what do I want to call it, resource. So you'll be able to have access to those in a couple weeks when I complete the edit on that. Thank you so much once again for joining me on Tao of the Day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.